We've all been there, right? Whether you're leading a meeting, teaching a class, or running a workshop, you've cooked up this perfect, insightful question, you lob it out to the group, and what do you get in return? Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You're ready for it. You're leaning in, expecting this fantastic conversation to just ignite. You're waiting for all these brilliant ideas to start flying. But instead, you just get that empty feeling, the sound of crickets.
Exactly. That heavy, awkward, you could hear a pin drop silence. It's an absolute energy killer. But what if I told you there's a simple, super memorable technique to make sure that pretty much never happens again?
Well, there is. It's called the Apple method. And trust me, it's an amazing little framework that's designed specifically to turn that dreaded silence into real, thoughtful participation. Let's dig in.
So what is it really? Here's the big idea. It's not just about asking smarter questions, though that never hurts. It's about structuring the entire process of how you ask. It's a rhythm, a cadence that makes sure your questions actually land and get everyone's brain in the game.
And the best part about the Apple method is how simple it is. Seriously, it's an acronym, so it's really easy to remember and even easier to start using right away. Let's break down what it stands for. Here we go. APPLE. First, you ask the question to everybody. This signals that all brains need to be working on this. Then, and this is key, you pause. You just wait. Next, you pick one person to answer, which creates this gentle accountability. You listen, really listen to what they say. And finally, you expound on their answer, connecting it back to the bigger picture for everyone.
Now, of all those steps, one of them is secretly a superpower. It's the absolute game changer. It's that second P, the pause. It might feel like the simplest part, but I promise you its effect is just massive.
We're not talking about a long, uncomfortable wait. Just 3 to 5 seconds. It's the Goldilocks zone. That little bit of silence, as weird as it might feel to you at first, is pure magic. It's where the real thinking happens. It gives everyone, not just the fastest thinkers, a chance to actually formulate a thought.
Okay, so the theory sounds good, but what does this actually look like in practice? Let's use a real-world example. Imagine you're teaching a very hands-on skill, something like changing a flat tire. Your goal isn't just to have people watch you, it's to make sure they're thinking right along with you. So you start with a huge safety question for the whole group. See how it's framed? It's a what and why question all in one. This immediately gets everyone focused on the most critical part, being safe.
So the instructor asks and then pauses for a full 4 seconds. Then they pick Alex. Alex gets it right, but the instructor doesn't just say correct, they expound. They say exactly. Without that, everything else we're about to do is dangerous. That validates the answer and drives the lesson home for the entire group.
Okay, later in the demonstration, another question. This one's a little trickier. It's not just about memorizing a step. It forces the learner to think about the physics of what's happening. It requires them to visualize the consequences.
The instructor waits a full 5 seconds this time, then picks Sam. Sam explains the logic perfectly, and the instructor's response? Spot on. By listening and then confirming it so enthusiastically, they reinforce and reward that critical thinking process.
And finally, we get to a quality control question. This is all about getting the job done right. Again, it's asked to the whole group, making sure everyone is mentally following along right to the very end of the task.
And this is just a brilliant example of the expound step. After a short pause, Jordan is picked. He says the right words, the star pattern, but the instructor takes it a step further. They don't just explain the pattern, they have Jordan come up and actually demonstrate it. That makes the learning active, it makes it stick.
So you can see, this is way more than just a clever acronym, right? The Apple method is so effective because it taps into some really powerful psychology that just plain creates a better, more inclusive environment for everybody.
So why does it work so well? Well, for one, that simple pause gives people who need an extra second to think a chance to participate, which dramatically reduces their anxiety. It guarantees that everyone is engaged, not just the 1 or 2 people who always shoot their hands up first. In a demonstration, it completely shatters that passive observer trance, and, get this, it helps build mental muscle memory before anyone even lays a hand on a tool.
When you really get down to it, using Apple fundamentally changes the dynamic in the room. You're shifting from a simple quiz to a genuine conversation. You're not just testing what people know, you're actively building their confidence. You're showing respect for their thought process, and you're helping them build a much deeper, more lasting understanding.
So here's the takeaway. The next time you need to engage a group, don't just ask a question and hope for the best.
Use the Apple method. It is such a small change in your approach, but it creates such powerful results. The only thing left to figure out is, what's the first question you are going to ask using Apple?